Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you in another video. All right, so I figured I'd do a therapy session. Uh, you know what else I've realized? Just jumping straight into my thought. It didn't even have to make any sense. I'm going straight in. Uh, I realized that I don't like the acoustics, how it sounds when I have my head under this cover. I really realized that it's comfortable for me laying down. It's a good temperature, which is what this is about, trying to stay warm. Um, but it gives a certain echo. So I want to apologize to everybody who's listened to these, who've had to deal with that echo and that sound. I hate it as well. And so I'm going to do my best to try not to do it as much as possible. But sometimes at night it gets so cold, or sometimes it'll be so late till it really makes more sense for me to try to muffle it. So what I'll try to do is make my voice uh, make a little more sense when doing so. But in the meantime, man, what's on my mind was just thinking about Los Angeles, living here, growing up as a young person, and I don't remember talking too much about just my relationship with, you know, growing up with the city, just kind of walking the streets and how I was able to kind of navigate LA without actually dealing with some of the elements that were there, to fall into traps that were in place for me to just basically be absorbed by. Just and I'm looking at my past in that way, and I see a whole lot of favor when I look at my childhood. Even though I talk about certain things about the negative aspects of things that I experienced, but I really truly remember having so much fortuitousness, good luck, favor is what I'm trying to express. Praying for things and having them happen. I had this habit when I was a kid of, having video games being a true passion of mine. When I was like 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, all that, my mother would make it a point to try to, really purchase as much of that stuff that I would want as she could for Christmas. That was her thing, to try to, really overdo it for Christmas. And so it was a blessing and a prayer, a great deal of prayer applied to what it is that I would want, right? So, for example, I was a subscriber to Game Pro magazine, a video game magazine. I don't know if it's still in existence in some online form or not, but back in the day, it was one of the main gamer magazines, and I would have like a little ritual where I would leave the book open to whatever page they would be reviewing a game that I wanted to get. And I would say my prayers at night, and I would leave the page open right next to my bed, and the bed was like really low to the floor. There was no type of mat or anything. It was one of those pull-out beds, so I could just lay it right next to me. I'd look at it in the morning and see my game and all of that. And it would do something I would do every single night. And the thing about it was, my mom would be the one who would have to try to purchase these games and try to make those miracles happen, right? But what she would tell me was that a lot of times she had no way of getting those games. It was like some of those games would be out of the country or something like that. She'd have to drive to like Ventura or something, and we lived in Hollywood. You know what I mean? Just to find the games. And a lot of times she would be so intent on finding these games till it was like she was basically certain a lot of times that she wouldn't. And then things would just happen to where she would get some money or something just out of nowhere. She would say us, maybe one would be left when she would go to get it. They would be able to hold it over for her. That type of thing happened several times. And she would swear by the fact of me doing that little ritual was why she was able to find the good luck and able to find those games each and every time. And we did this so many years in a row. And she would have so many testimony stories to tell me about these games and these various correlations. To it kind of, I would imagine it kind of correlated to why I am the way that I am these days, where I do certain things in faith. She raised me to believe uh, in a specific saying that came from the Bible, for we walk by faith and not by sight. She That was one of the most important things that she tried to instill in me as a young person. And I wonder if I took that and ran with it. Like, as I've grown older and looking at how I handle my life now, it's like I've taken that somewhere else. I took that literally and then applied a certain different type of math to it or something. And so it's led me to making certain questionable decisions in my life, and it's also led to me doing and saying some things on this channel. I'd imagine even creating this channel to begin with, being willing to be vulnerable on camera and all these different things. It's by faith. And I can't see where that would be wise. I can't see where that would be accepted. I can't see where people would care. Without counsel, without care, because there's faith applied to it. I've prayed. I've seen him do this so many times, and I say him is in the Most High, provide me so many different blessings and miracles by way of my mom, by way of, various different examples and testimonies, till I get to a point at 38 years of age to where in my mind I'm fully aware that there is a God, that there's a relationship to be had with that God, that I've found a way to establish that relationship, and that he has guided me to purpose in life. And I remember praying for purpose. I remember feeling times in life where there wasn't much going on, and I felt a certain numbness, a certain emptiness, I guess you can say, for life. And then remembering seeing how things progressed to where it was the opposite later on. And just looking at things as I grew, it now gives me an opportunity to have experience just like every other human being. You start to understand what age is a benefit to. It's like you got so much that you can offer, what I mean, as it pertains to wisdom and experience and sharing things to people who may be going through things that you may have already experienced or similar things or what have you. And the one thing that I can give people, I was able to dodge certain things that may have been valuable experiences for you, but I was also able to gain some things that I don't think a lot of people found, and that's how to walk by faith and not by sight, and take that literally, and kind of live in a certain way that I think it can make me feel as if there's always hope. You know what I mean? Even when things don't look that great, there's still a certain favor that you can rely upon. And you can kind of ignore some of the things that are in place that are meant to confuse, and maybe even see some of those things as they hide in the shadows. And so that's what faith has taught me. As I apply faith and I think this way, it's helped me see the world a certain way, and it's given me a confidence to be able to share with others whatever it is that's within me, without any blemishes, without any question. And so that's what I'm here to consider as I look back on my life, man. I don't know how I was able to steer clear of some of the violence that was out there in the city, some of the gang violence, you know what I mean, some of the things. Because when I look back on my life, I spent a good majority of my time just walking the streets of Hollywood. When I was, I'd say 10, anywhere between 10 and 15, you know what I mean? I was so comfortable walking the streets of Hollywood to where I would go everywhere on foot and on bus and things like that. It seemed like the older I got, the more reliant I became on transportation in other ways. But back when I was younger, I didn't even catch the bus a lot of times. I would walk at 7-8 miles, you know what I mean, for nothing, just to go around. It was just that natural for me to walk. For some strange reason, Hollywood Boulevard particularly will allow you to do that, though, because it's such a tourist attraction to where you don't really actually feel like you're walking down the street. It's like turning down a street on Disneyland for a bit. So That's kind of what it was for me, and Hollywood Boulevard is so long, so it's like you just walk it, and then from there, travel up further, you go down La Brea, and then just keep on walking and stuff like that. As a little kid, it was nothing to do that, really nothing to do that. And now that I look back on it, those were some of the times where there was a lot going on out there for a black male to get into and all of that. And it just seemed like I was able to dodge it left and right every day. It was almost like I don't know, it was almost like the environment, kind of was just safe for me. It was weird. It was a very weird vibe that I perceived as a child. And even though things would happen, I would hear, and as I grew older, that changed a lot. But as a young child, it was almost felt protected or something. It was almost like whatever was really going on, I wasn't of it. I don't know. It was weird, man. I think that was a perception my mother created, by having such a strong faith and being the way that she did. She was, but that's peculiar to me, given the way my childhood started. You know what I mean? And certain things took place that were the complete opposite of that really early on. It was almost like angels came in and kind of gave me a nice long childhood after that to kind of make up for it. It was that kind of thing. It was a very strange type of favor that I felt upon my life, but this led me to have, the type of confidence that I have now. To just do and say and just be confident that same favor is still carrying me right now. Sometimes I feel like in that same breath as I've expressed, some things have worked against me, like severely. The universe has done some things to kind of take back some of that favor. Some just like unfortunate bad timing type stuff. But all in all, I just feel like I'm always looking forward to try to be in the right place at the right time. So even if I take losses, it's just less weight for whatever else that was being held on to me, regardless if I have to let it go. All it'll do is leave me lighter to move faster. You know what I mean? So I tell you gotta let things go. In life, sometimes that's what it is. Let people go. Accept the season that you're in with circumstances. Whatever it is. I like to call it wearing certain hats. For me, particularly. And when it's time to take a certain type of hat off, you put on another. And keep on piling on the experiences that come with wearing hats. And so now it's like I'm at 38, and going into 39. It's like, I'm so, over these last several days, I feel like I don't even know how to really word it. The word isn't transition, because that's correlated with leaving, but I feel like I've overcome a certain focus threshold, I guess you can say, as it pertains to my confidence in prayer, my confidence in my art creativity. I just feel like I've been a bit more. It's been easier to be me over these last several days. It's almost like I went through such a deep, stressful threshold over these last several weeks. And it's like I reached a certain low that there was no further down I could go as it pertains to where I had gotten, I guess you can say. It's very difficult to explain. So for me, the best way I can describe it is, there were times in my life when I was a child where I would get so depressed till I couldn't progress. I could not bring myself to do anything. And what I've gotten to in this phase of my life is to where I've garnered so many good habits along the way, bouncing back from those circumstances each time and finding my way just to finding different outlets that work for me, to now, when I reached a certain low, I simply turned to some of those habits. And once I started doing that, suddenly I started feeling like my frequency improved. It was almost like I gained a new level or something in life. It was like God gave me a certain new shield or something. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But ever since then, I've almost felt like whatever the stresses have been in my life, whatever the things that I thought I was most concerned about, it's almost like they've taken a break once again. It's not to say that my problems are gone away, but it's as if my focus has recentered to my art, to my playlisting, to doing this channel, and I've just been kind of really able to do it at a level that I can appreciate. It feels effortless, is what I'm saying to you. You know, doing the art this morning, I made pieces that I was pleased with, and it was easy to do. You know, I was thinking about some things that I was concerned with while I was making my art, but I didn't have as much intensity in putting my pain into the art as opposed to the art just kind of taking the pain. It was a different feeling today, you know. It's like the frequency has changed on my entire spirit. Some type of cosmic shift or something, as they would say. Or maybe it's just the weed. I would never rule that out. Never rule that out. But even so, I haven't been smoking as much of it, and have still felt pretty aligned, is what I'm telling you. Spiritually aligned. Aligned with the Creator, you know? As if whatever it is that whatever the worst of it has been is now pretty much over. That's what it feels like. And then I look at like GME, and it was up 55%, which is interesting because I know a lot of the banks have in fact failed, so this might be the real thing. Unfortunately, I don't have GME. I don't have any of that. But you guys know what I'm about. I'm an AMC ape, and that thing was up about 9%. So hopefully this is the beginning of that process, of the whole shift that will align with this difference of frequency that I feel like I'm in. Hopefully this will be the change in the world that I've been waiting for, so that I can take this frequency and move on from this space, however that looks, you know, really. Because at this point it's like things have been so incredibly difficult, and though I'm happy to be on this frequency with a lot more patience, and would love to stay on this frequency for the rest of my life, so to speak, life just has continuous ebbs and flows. At 39 years old, you just know, 38 years old rather, you just know that more keep coming. So my thing is to just gain more of a threshold for whatever's next, regardless of good or bad, or not to have high hopes or low lows, but to keep these habits, you know what I mean, and continue to lean on the outlets, you know, regardless of what surrounding circumstances occur. You know, lean on the truth, which is every good thing that comes my way, you know, needs to return back to the place from which good things go, and to not be married to anything because of it. You know, those type of things, to retrain the mind so that it's easier to fall into these comfortable, patient frequencies. You know what I mean? Because I think that's what it ultimately is. You reach a lull where you just can't go no further. Either you're going to crash, or you're going to lean into what you've been doing, whatever that may have been, which for me has been positive things, and let it build you back up. And that's what I've been letting it do, you know. Working out more during this process. Obviously more content, doubling up on the Laker content. You know, I mean, just dealing with stuff. Like literally dealing with stuff as it comes my way as best I can. Trying my best to not be in denial, as it's so easy for me to do that and stay in lulls and things like that, but just praying. You know, anytime I'm laying down, if I'm not being as productive as I feel I need to be, I go straight into prayer at this point. Instead of allowing myself to stay in that space, I start asking for that energy, and I found it. You know, usually when that happens, I'm not down for too long. I'll get up, and then from there start the process of starting art or whatever the case may be. So it's just trying to see these little progressions within myself, knowing that the way that I am, you know, it is what it is. I'll just have to manage myself, but that's how I'll do it. It's through prayer and through intent on practice. You know, as I was mentioning for the team and the Lakers, I've been talking about practice a lot. And, you know, practicing what I preach in that regard, and continue my training in these different art forms. And, you know, and letting it do what it's supposed to do, which is build about whatever the excellence it is that I'm looking for. So that's what it is, man. Not really worrying about other people's measurements of what it is that I'm doing. You know, same thing with the channel. I know I'm supposed to make sure that it grows, and I'm curious about making it grow, but at the same time, I'm also curious about um, what life is like when you literally ignore that but still apply the same excellence. Like, I'm literally curious about that. I don't know why I'm so weird like this, but I just feel like I just want to see what it looks like, you know? Instead of telling yourself that you need to be so successful, why not just see if there's another way forward? You know, I'm a different type of cat in the sense that I think sometimes if you take the road less traveled, if you go a road that nobody goes, you can take a route that gets you to where they're going quicker, or gets you to a bigger bag, or gets you to a space where you're more impactful, or gets you to a space where you can do things differently that you would never have the freedom to do if you just take the regular route. In the world right now, where I know I see things differently than most of the people around, I feel like there's no reason for me to not to trust my own gut when I just do things just weird, like literally weird. Like this AMC thing, if it really pans out, then we're looking at a situation where I've helped. You know, like I've literally helped. I didn't just sit here. You know? Now I sat here just the same, but now I can do something good with myself. You know what I mean? So it's like, was it really a failure? Maybe not. It depends on if my calculations are wrong. But I know my calculations are nothing like most. I'm just different. So I gotta live different if I'm gonna be able to get what it is that they don't have. And that's what it is, man. While everybody's trying to get what everybody else has, I'm looking for something that no one else knows is there. I'm looking for something, a higher frequency. You know, I believe that everything that we want starts with an agreement and a thought. And I think that our thoughts are just basically manipulated, man. I think people have given us things to accept in this particular world we're in, because a lot of people have forced themselves to accept certain things because they have to keep covering up lies for other lies because of lies because of other lies. And I'm just saying, I don't care about the truth. I'm trying to connect with the source. He is the truth. Your lies don't matter. You don't even understand the surrounding world things around it. We don't even know the depths of the space out there. We don't know how far down what is in the ocean. There's a lot of things we don't know while we're trying to capture so much truth about what it is we understand. There's math we ain't even using. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to connect to something that gets things that we don't even know we need to understand. Context is the things that we don't even know we need to look into. Like I'm trying to go somewhere else because I know that whatever we're on, it doesn't matter. As it pertains to, there are children who are going to be having children, who will be having children, who will be having children, and I don't want them to be neglected generations, literally, because a lot of generations, including our own, have been neglected or discarded of, or have plans beyond them, and I don't want that for them. And so I'm trying to connect with something that can help me understand what it is that I can share while I'm alive through my voice and my ability to articulate and my ability to connect with him, that can help us get around some of these agreements that are no freaking good. And because I have this ability, because I am this strange, the confidence allows me to speak this way. And if it makes sense, good. If it doesn't, charge it to me being gone. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, we're all a bag of bones. And our kids are going to have to move forward and undo some of the nonsense that we've done, both physically to the earth and spiritually with our energy. I pray really, really deep prayers every day for people I don't know, people I do know, myself. And what comes to me is continue to pray, you know what I mean? Just to continue to do so, to allow that to be a strong conscience in my own head. Let that same voice that prays be the voice that leads me to different decisions and the different information and different people and circumstances from which to trust, and let that be your instinct. You know, the closer you get to God, the easier it is to follow that same voice, you know, that you use to pray. It will be that same voice that guards you away from certain things that otherwise need to be avoided. And when you don't have that voice, something else comes in place and also leads you. You know, and so that's what I've come to understand. I followed that wrong voice. It leads me in the wrong places. It leads me into bad energy. And I'll tell you, when I'm in that bad energy, I find myself not ready for the things that come in life that you want to be ready for. That's what it is. It backs you into not being prepared. And that can lead you to real trauma, real mental anguish, and all types of stuff. But if you're a good person when bad things happen, maybe it's easy to forgive yourself for things that you should not be blaming yourself for. You know, that kind of thing. Maybe if you already love yourself already, even if, you know what I mean? You don't start bombarding yourself with believing things that others say that you shouldn't believe about you. Beating yourself up, bombarding yourself with negativity so that you become a victim to your own madness. I think a lot of us do a lot of self-punishment. We don't realize that we have that favor. We haven't been taught to seek favor. We've watched others find peace in a lot of different things that are no good for them. Maybe they come to an end. Maybe we perceive that as peace. And that's not good. That's not the way that brings us the most possible happiness, I don't believe. You know, but we try to cope the best way we can. And what I'm saying is a lot of people are able to find outlets in different crews or cults. Some do with religion, some do even sports, whatever the case may be. We attach ourselves to things where clusters of people are there so we can come together to kind of cope with our circumstances. I'm saying, why not take that model and apply it to our energy? You know, we think so much of how corny it may be to apply peace and gentleness or what have you, but then we become so disheartened by the tragedy that trickles down from the type of things that we do think is cool and the things that we do engage in that we feel are necessary. And I just wonder if there's a better way forward. I just wonder if there's a collective way to come together and just be a little smarter, use some of these other models that we use to come together to find a way to make normal some of the things that'll help us survive a little longer. Make normal some of the things that maybe eliminate the things that might accidentally happen to our children that we don't want to happen. That kind of stuff. I think about how much we love our guns, and I think about straight bullets. I don't know how to live in a world where I can't see both. You being happy with that and her an unfortunate passing. I don't know how to, I don't know how to do that with my head. I want to be compassionate with people and see your point of view. But I'm from a world where that's happened too much. You know what I mean? I'm from a world where that is like, that's something that really traumatized you as a child. When you hear about a friend who accidentally may have gotten, I don't want to, So for me, from my angle, I say, we gotta find another way. You may have a different point of view. I don't know. But I don't know if we can get to those places if the whole point of view is to be at odds for whatever reason, whatever, or to want to cross the threshold of disrespect so that we want to be violent for whatever reason. I think the things that make that normal, we got to take a look at. And I don't know if we are in a space where we are in an environment where that's even something we would want to do. So, am I right for wanting us to get to that place? Or am I someone that's just making us soft? Am I just someone that ain't allowing us to grow stronger within the understanding that certain things are going to happen anyway? I don't have the answer. This is why I pray a lot, because these are things that I can fathom the ability to debate, but I can't save her life. You see what I'm saying? So that debate is a waste of time. We are wasting time. That's how my mind goes as well. And I share that with you guys because that's what a creative can do, man. That's exactly what we can do. And I think that's why a lot of times we just need to be given our tools to just let us be ourselves so we can help those who lead do just that. We need to help leaders. They need people like us. They need to see what we see, and they need to know that there's people who have spiritual energy. Just energy, bro. It's not empty. I've been saying it a lot of times in this life. I don't know how to express that to people. But for those who just think there's nothing to that, I feel different. I can actually feel it physically. It's different. There's something else. What that is, how that goes, who else can confirm it with me, I don't know. I can confirm there's something spiritual that is. How else? I don't know. I don't know what else, who else, which one's the right one, I don't know. The name, I don't know. But there's a connection there to something. It's been spiritual my whole life. And so I follow it and I find favor. Certain things happen, align with timing. I can't make any sense of it, but yet I try to. And then when I speak, things come out that are much smarter than me. And I hope it makes sense to y'all, man. Because when I listen back to it, I'm like, yeah, a lot of it still makes sense to me. And I just want to share what it is I have inside, because there's favor here. And I think if people just kind of study some of the stuff I've experienced with your own scale, some of the things you can do that I have no idea about, just take a look at the things that are going around me. I think you'll see a most definite correlation of something deeper than just matter, and what I can say is like just happenstance. It's a lot of consistencies that are really, really weird. Stuff that you'll look at and say, okay, why is that there? It's a lot of that throughout the course of my entire life. I can't even explain certain things. You know? Like, for example, having a dream about a place and it's being there like a year later, you know, or having anxiety about a person passing away and then they pass away a year later, almost to the very day. Like that type of weird stuff, man. It's just been constant in my whole life. Or looking at the clock and it being on the hour each and every time, damn near. It's like, what's up with the timing? You know. And so as I look at those things and I listen to my mom say, "Walk by faith, not by sight," so many times as a child, it's just like, you know what? I just trust the timing of my life, man. I look at the examples of different people who've had quote unquote special lives, and the various different things that they say they see, and the different things that they say they feel, how they just kind of go forward, trusting a certain instinct, and how it can lead to different things, changes in the world, changes in how people move, changes in how people feel about certain things or what have you, just by the suggestion of these very special people who have whatever it is that they have to offer the world. And so I just don't quite know who I am as it pertains to that. Like, I know myself, BDF 44, Brandon, on my name and all that. I know who I've been and all of that. But as it pertains to what that deeper spiritual energy is and why I feel it so deeply and why I trust it so much and why I feel like there's a deeper correlation of relationships that I can't necessarily explain to you all, that I feel like I have with energies that I don't even identify with but feel. It's weird to be me as I speak to you this way. But I'm vulnerable in the sense that this is just who it is, what I feel I am. And I'm a temporary being just like the rest of us, so I might as well give you my experience. I just feel like there's so much unknown about what sparks our consciousness. And maybe it is known by a chosen few or a couple of people who just have the books or whatever the case may be. But as far as just the common man, this is not the stuff we're looking at in our phones, man. That's not what I'm talking about. And the closer I get to God, the more I pray to him about others, or her to about others. And that's another thing. I've had a lot of conversations that have gotten away from that let me talk at you, God, kind of interaction. I've kind of gotten away from that lately in this little frequency experience these last couple of days. And I've been listening to that voice inside of me a different way in regards to speaking to that source. It's almost like the relationship has gotten a little more personal. And so I've been listening to God in a different way, I guess you can say. And I just feel like he's giving me the confidence to even speak even further. It's one of those situations where you just understand that whatever it is that you feel inside, you should share with the people. You just let out is what the confidence is. No matter really whether it makes sense or not, he'll align it with the timing. And so that's what I hope happens. That because I'm speaking, you will see some variation of what it is that I'm talking about in your life. You know what I mean? That he would allow, or she would allow, something like that to happen. And whether or not it's a he or she, I don't think it's limited to that. I don't think it's that simple. I told God I think that I would receive God better, or have more of a natural intent on God, if I thought it were a she, based on the relationships I've had in life. And one of the reasons why I don't go to God quick as I should is because I envision him as a man. It's like a certain respect that has to be paid to a dude. So it's like, hey, as opposed to a woman that I'm used to as mom nurturing, you know what I mean? I think I'd be quicker to go to a woman than I would go to a male deity in the sky. Like, that's the type of conversation I was having with God. It's like, this is just getting different now. It's really getting different. You know what I mean? And I've been expressing confusion about what it is that I'm receiving in certain things regarding people that I should interact with and not, or certain things about how I should handle what's in front of me in regards to my living situation and what's next. And it's been just a lot of it's been a lot of acceptance as it pertains to certain things are just going to have to be revealed to me as it pertains to what my options are going forward. Now I'm waiting on those understandings. So for the time being, is just keep up these practices. Keep feeling this frequency, keep praying, keep being intent on being excellent at what I'm doing. And just watch him work, watch her work. That's kind of what it is. And it's like you see what's happening. And it's like the confidence that starts talking about it in regards to AMC and all this guacamole stuff I've been telling you guys about. It's like, that is now manifesting. It's like, okay, for me, in real time, I'm still like, nah, I'm not seeing it. I'm not there yet. I'm still in a dark place. I'm still very much in bad spaces. But the confidence is like, nope, we're already past it. It's kind of what I'm feeling from God is what I'm telling you. It's like, what you think you're feeling, you're about to see your reality change. And then some of the things that you're worried about will invert in certain other areas, and then you will have other things to pray for. So just be poised that the Lord is taking you where he wants you to go, and watch his timing. Remember the favor of your childhood. Remember when you put the game pros on the floor. Tell the people so that you reflect on it as well, so that it will carry you forward. For you walk by faith, not by sight. Like, that's the energy. That's the exact energy. And so I'm speaking into the this camera about my team. And then one of the great players I've been talking about comes in out there and says, relax. And I watch one of my videos and I realize how manic I look. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Like, I was manic as hell, yo. Like, overly manic. And it wasn't because I was stressed out about the team. It was because I was stressed about my life. But the Lord was allowing me to outlet into the team all of that stress, no different than he would allow me to outlet into any other art form, because that's exactly what the Laker channel is, an art form for me. Doing them videos. Just like the playlist. Just like these videos here, which I do look at separate. And I hope you do as well. And of course other aspects of what it is that I do, my working out as well. It's all art. It's all approached the same way, with a certain level of intent and practice and dedication to the source. You know, I've been compelled to kind of go to my knees a little more, like I was supposed to as a child. Prayed on my knees with my hands folded. I've been feeling like that's a better way for me to pray for some reason. That's something that I've been compelled to do. I don't know why. I don't know the significance of that. I know maybe some may. I've never understood it. But like that's been something that's really happening. And just honestly, just trusting the voice and allowing it to guide me in every aspect. Listening to it even more so intently. Having come full circle as to whether or not to trust it. You know what I mean? Going through that threshold like I was going through 2 weeks ago, where I just didn't know what to do. Feeling all kinds of, deeply about my faith. Not necessarily helping me through that circumstance at the moment. And just understanding that I came through that, and then being attacked in the way that I was, spiritually, as I call it, by way of, just circumstances of things breaking and stuff like that. And having to endure that effortlessly, somehow, and even more so, continuing my practices with even more confidence in the presence of that adjustment, and in the presence of other stresses as well that are obvious. So it's just like, all of this is coming together to just help me understand that this is coming to a close. All of it is reaching some type of peak. All of it. That I'm waiting for them to tell me about the court date any minute. In regards to this process with this apartment, I'm looking at certain things going on in my life with my family and some of my loved ones. It's just a lot of stuff. It's a lot of people going through a lot of things. It's just a lot going on, man. And as I look at this camera, I tell you guys certain things I want to talk about in the camera, but I just don't feel it's my business to speak on. Not fully, but it's just is what it is. Even me, when it comes to certain things, you just have to give more prayer before you want to let go of. But I'll tell you this, some things you just gotta let go of. Even if it's right, it may not be right now. And so that's what it comes down to for your boy BDF 44. But, at the same time, when you apply prayer, it makes it easy. Because when any good thing comes your way, it's going to have to return to the source. And if you had that relationship embedded in your understanding, you got that kind of worked into your repetition, it makes it easier to walk away from good things or bad things that you perceive are good, or things that may not be good for you anymore, or whatever the case may be. Your relationship with your entitlement to good will be different, because you will be able to absorb letting it go and then trusting to have it return. And that's the beautiful thing about walking by faith in that regard. Because if you have to let something go, or if it's ripped away from you, or whatever the case may be, you get the chance to have the belief, the ready hand, so to speak, for it to land in your lap. You can catch it when it comes again. You won't be walking around shutting it off like a lot of people do, saying, nope, can't welcome any more good things because that did not work out last time and I was traumatized by that, so no more good things. It's like, nah, how about you keep that relationship with God, the source, the whole time, reminding yourself that source came first the whole time. That's what prayer did for me. I always told myself the source came before good things, whatever they were. At this point in time in my life, it came with the prayers. So now when things have to go back to the source, I feel like I'm in a ready position to not only throw it back at him with confidence, but to be in a ready position with my mitt open so I can catch the next blessing real quick. I ain't tripping. I know the next blessing's coming. Why? Because I've been in communication with the Most High the whole time. Never broke sight of him. And that's one of the things he told me to do when I first started understanding that there was a communication that he had. He said, keep your eyes on me. So that's what I'm going to tell you. If you believe in God, keep your eyes on him. It's a lot of fog that we're going to have to walk through. But if you keep your eyes on him, you're going to be able to see through that. That's what I've come to understand. And a lot of the relationships that the things that go wrong, or the circumstances that break our relationship with the Most High, comes with us not having a firm grip on letting good things go and trusting good things are coming back. You know what I mean? That's what it really goes wrong for a lot of humans. That they can't seem to get through that part of this thing. They're looking for others to keep staying good. They're looking at the subject, so to speak, to be good. It's like, no, that the good is in the source. He puts the good in the subjects. They keep it for however long he wants them to have it. And then they go back, that good goes back to him, or they go back to him, or they go away, and therefore that's metaphorically back to him. Either way, the good thing goes away. Comes back too, if you trust it will. If you trust it will, or metaphorically, it can hit you in the head. That's what happens to a lot of people when they don't put their mid up. It's like, I don't believe in that no more. Ain't no more good coming my way. And he throws it back down to you. You don't recognize it as good. you got your guard up now. You're like, I don't trust no good. Because you don't trust it. You don't know that the source is there throwing good stuff back at you. That relationship is there for you to pay attention to the whole time. You're not blindsided by anything if that relationship is intact. So that's what I've come to understand, man. That whole mustard seed thing, that's really how it works. 1 step forward, he'll take 3 steps forward from there, and then all of that stuff is just about repeating the practice of reminding yourself that source is there, good comes to him, everybody around, it's the good that he puts in them for a time, or however long it goes, for a season or for a lifetime. You don't know, but that good will be there. Take from it, give the good you have, keep that relationship, and the good will be replenished. For you, with you, as you, for them, all that. Good. You know what I'm saying? And it should be coveted, because that's what allow you to build. That's what will keep things safe. Everybody has that. If everyone has good in them, there's hope for a overcoming of certain circumstances. It's the community that comes together in goodness to work with one another to help build whatever needs to be built or rebuilt. It's that goodness. It's that trust that we will come together, that we can overcome whatever our battles are, our differences are, our disrespect maybe, so that we can clear out, rebuild, break bread, and replenish, and feed ourselves. These are the things we want to teach our kids, so that they're not at war with one another, so that they don't break our hearts by leaving the earth early, engaging in nonsense that we engaged in as bad examples to them. This is what he's put in my heart. That's why I trust him. This is why I'm weird like that. This is all the favors about. This is why he's let me walk the streets and survive. So I can get here to say these things. That's why I trust my weird ways, because I know he puts this in me out of nowhere, man. Out of absolutely nowhere. And so you have that, and you look around, you don't see too many people talking like that. You know what they're engaging in is stuff that you see ain't no good, and you see who's doing it and how they're doing it, so to speak, spiritually. And you can point it out to them if they can listen to you. So it's like, why would you do what they do when you know what they're doing is not leading them to them? To him, to they, she, he, whatever. And that's exactly how the relationship is too. Now at this point, I'm like, whatever. So please don't feel disrespected by that, because I know many will feel I'm being disrespectful and flip it, and maybe God will as well and will punish me for it. But my heart is in the right place. So my intention is to be respectful of God and you. It's true. I'm running out of time. I would like to keep on talking, but I am not God. I ain't him, I ain't Jesus, I ain't Buddha, I ain't none of that. I'm a human being. And I don't believe that he puts human beings on this earth with a connection to him to lie about that connection, or to embellish about whether or not they can heal and bring forth powers. And I ain't got none of that crap. I'm just a dude who believes in God, and he's shown me favor. I think he's given me purpose. He wants me to prove he's here, out here, living somehow. I don't know. Maybe not in the flesh, but in the energy somehow. That's what I believe. I believe in you too. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.